There's nothing worse than putting a lot of time, effort, and heart into making something beautiful for someone you love to have your ends come undone. I'm going to show you 3 ways to make sure that never happens. Let's get started. Tip number 1. Anytime you're dealing with your crochet work, always leave a nice long tail to sew back or weave back into your work. Whether it's at the beginning of your work or when you're finishing off, nothing is more cringeworthy than seeing somebody cut their work off right here and think that their work will not come undone. As an example, whether you're starting your work with a magic circle or with a slip knot, when you start and you make that initial start to your project, leave a long tail. After you weave your ends in, you can cut off the excess, but it's better to have too much than too little. Tip 2, sewing in or weaving in your ends. When I finish a project, I like to make sure I take that nice long tail and bring it down towards a series of stitches. So here I'm at the end of this granny square, and I'm just going to weave in a couple times and come down here to where I have this set of stitches right here. I'm going to sew that tail underneath these series of stitches. And I like to count that as 1. I'm going to go back and forth a total of 3 times. Even though that's only through half of it, that's 1. I'm going to go back in the opposite direction, collecting all of these stitches. But I'm not going to go in where I came out. I'm going to go over 1 half of a stitch and then collect all of those stitches on my needle and pull that long tail through. When I do that, that catches right here. You can see it catches this loop of this stitch. That helps it from backing out. We're going to go back the opposite direction now. And again, I'm going to skip over 1 of these half stitches right here. Place my needle back in and go all the way through again. That's number 3. And again, this tail catches this part of this stitch. Give it a nice little snug pull, not too tight. And you have this excess here from this really long tail that we started with that you can clip, and your work is secure. It's not going to back out. There we go. Now let's say, for instance, against all odds, this does back out. It's only going to back out maybe on this side before you catch it, and you've got plenty to sew back in. It's nowhere near the end of your work. It's not going to come unraveled. You might have an end come out, but your work won't come unraveled. Same for the centers of anything that you work on. Go ahead and load this onto your needle and go back and forth a series of 3 times. Your work will not come undone. Let's discuss the importance of finishing off your work correctly. I'm going to go ahead and finish off this round here on this granny square by slip stitching here to the corner. And if I were to finish off according to how most tutorials tell you, I would simply chain 1, cut my work, pull my yarn through, and snug it up to my work. However, I promise you, if you'll do your work this way, you'll have much more success. After joining, chain 2, not 1, 2. Leave yourself a nice long tail. Pull your yarn through. You've got 2 chains here. Pinching between your thumbnail and your index finger, pinch the very top of this sequence of chains. And then with your other hand, pull firmly. And you're going to pull that knot snug up against your work. This creates a really nice little, almost a surgical knot. That knot's not going anywhere. This is not going anywhere. Your work will not come undone. Okay? Then simply weave in your ends as you would with any other project, but this knot's not going anywhere. This is the best, most secure way to finish off your work to make sure that your beautiful project stays for generations to come. So which tip was your favorite? Do you have any tips that you'd like to share? I'd love to hear about them. Make sure you leave them in the comment section below. Maybe I'll use them in a future video. Okay, that's it from the craft room today. Thank you so much for joining me. Until I see you again, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.